Welcome to the animated website activity. So today we're going to create a animated website using Adobe Animate CC. So the first thing we're going to do is click on HTML5 canvas for create new, or we could go file new and choose HTML canvas 5, and we're going to do some settings. Okay, in those settings we're going to go 1280 by 720. Okay, so our width 1280, our height 720, and then click OK. And there's you see our stage. I'm going to come up here and ask it to fit in the window so I can see it all. Make sure my timeline is open. Alright, now that we have that open, we're going to come down here and create some layers. Okay, so the first one we're going to create is a background layer. Click my new layer button. Double click on layer 2. We're going to call that buttons. New layer. Rename that one content. And then one more and call that actions for our action script. So you got to have 4 layers. Make sure they're in this order. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down to our background layer and we're going to import an image. This image is going to be imported directly to the stage, and you're going to find it on your shared drive. So I'm going to scroll down. Some of you might not be able to see it, so you might have this. Just come over here and click on that little alligator here, drop down, and you're going to find the shared drive. You're going to come over here and scroll down until you find digital animation, and then you're looking for the animated website, and we're looking for landscape image. Select it, click open, and you'll see that it pops onto our stage. So now what we want to do is we want to select it. So make sure it's selected, and we want to create this as our background image, so we're going to set it to the same settings. So my width is going to be 1280 and my height is going to be 720, and then obviously I got to move it in here. Okay, and there's my background image. Okay, now that we've created our background image, I'm just going to come down here in my timeline. I'm going to lock this layer so I don't accidentally put anything on it or move it or screw it up in the future. To give us some room, let's go ahead and on our background layer, let's go ahead and insert a frame so we can make sure our background is being displayed throughout the entire process. So this is where we will end up putting our buttons and making our creativity and our information and our content. So again, all I did here, I'll go edit undo. All I did was I clicked around frame 70 right here. I right clicked and said insert a frame, and you'll see that it extended that way. Okay, so now we're going to go to our buttons layer. I'm going to come over here, click on rectangle tool, and I'm going to make some buttons. Let's make some curvy edges. So I'm going to make that 20. Hit enter, and need to pick a nice color. So let's do a light blue. Okay, and you know what? I don't want a stroke, so I'm going to turn my stroke off, and I'm just going to draw that right here. Something like that. Okay, now that I have my button, let's go ahead and put some text here. Click on make sure again I'm on this one. There it is. Whoops. Okay. I want to make sure, let's make my font color, let's make it black. Oops, I had the wrong thing selected. So I want to go edit, undo. Okay. I want to be in here. And I'm just going to put main, oops, can't even spell, main page. Okay. Come here. get my selection tool. I want to drag that up and maybe use my arrows to center it. There we go. Okay, again, there's my button, main page button. So I found a new trick to duplicate my buttons here. So using my selection tool, I'm going to highlight my button. I'm going to hold down my Alt key and then click and drag and make a new button. I'm going to do the same thing. Release, hold down Alt, click and drag. Release, hold down Alt, click and drag. And I want 4 buttons. Might need to space them out a little better than that. So oops, I hit Alt again. Don't want to do that. I just want to move this one. Okay. That looks good. Okay. Okay, so now that I have the button, I'm going to get my text tool. I'm going to come here and I'm going to change the text in here, highlight all of it, or I can just go Control A and type in About Us. Come to this one, Control A, Photos, come here, Control A, and Contact. And once I do that, I'm just going to come back here and make sure they look all pretty good. Make sure, might need to center them into the button, but that looks pretty good. Okay, to be a little more creative, let's make the backgrounds different colors of the button. So I'm going to click right below and get my fill. I'm going to turn this to a red. I'm going to come here, get that one. Let's do a pinkish, maybe a purpley. And this one right here, and let's go green like the Hulk. I like that one. Okay, there you go. That looks nice. Alright, now that I have them drawn, I have to make these actual buttons. So I'm going to select my main page. I can come up here to modify, convert to symbol, and I'm going to call this main BTN, capital B there. Make sure button is selected. Click OK. I'm going to come here and do the same thing here. Modify, convert to symbol. I'm going to call this About BTN. Make sure it's a button. Click OK. Right here to Photos. Modify, convert to symbol. Call this Photo. Oops. BTN. Type button. Click OK. And then last but not least, to Contact. Modify, convert to symbol. Contact, BTN. Click OK. So now they're all buttons. Okay. Now that we have these buttons, we can go in here and we can add by double clicking on it. So notice here my breadcrumb, I'm on the scene. If I point and double click on this button, now I'm working inside the main BTN. Here's my up, over, and down. Okay, so I'm going to insert a keyframe on my down and keep that the same, and then on my over I'm going to insert a keyframe, but I'm going to change the background color because I'm crazy like that. And let's make it like a light beige like that. Okay, and then when I'm done, I'm going to click, well, here, let's make sure I remember what color I want. Let's do the third one from the bottom here. Okay, then I'm going to click back on scene. I'm going to go to About Us and double click. Again, going to the down, inserting a keyframe. Okay, and then to the over, insert a keyframe, and then click off of it. And I just want the background fill and make that the same color. I think it was this one or that one. Okay, click back on scene. Do the same for photos. Go to the down, insert a keyframe. Go to the over, insert a keyframe. And make sure that color or the fill is selected. Pick that color. Go back to scene 1. Double click on Contact. Go to the down, insert a keyframe. Go to the over, insert another keyframe. Click in the stage, and I want to choose the background color again, or the fill, and change the color. Okay, there we go. Now I want to be able to see these buttons throughout the entire animate file, so I got to come down here and insert a keyframe the same length as I did with my background. So now as far as I go, I see my buttons, and let's go ahead and test it. Control, test. Okay, and it will pop up on a website like this, and as you see, hovering over them, those are that orangey color to it, and if I click on it, it'll go back to the original. Okay, that's pretty nice. All right, go ahead and close that up. So to make this a little more dynamic of a website, we want to make it responsive, which means every time I test it, and I'll bring my tab over here real quick, no matter what the size, it will still look nice. So depending on the device, oops, sorry, I went too far on it. Depending on the device, it will be responsive to whatever, if I'm on a tablet, iPad, cell phone, whatever. Okay, so how we do that is we go to a website that has this code. Okay, and I will bring that over here. Okay, so I need you to type in this exactly how you see it. Go ahead and pause the video and go to your Google browser and type in this exact URL. The only thing you're not going to be typing is the not secure. So start with the I and go all the way down to the animate-cc /. Okay, once you get there, let's see here. Make sure I'm not screwing anything up here. We're going to go to the responsive scaling, ignoring aspect ratio. So right below that, we're going to click and we're going to highlight all of this all the way down. Okay, we're going to stop right here. We're going to right click, copy, then come into our animate file. And once we're back in our animate file, we can hit F9, or we can go Window, Actions, right here. And I'm just going to click here and go, or right click, choose Paste, and there you'll see the code. Okay. Give you a second to do that. When you're done, you can test your movie. Or not test your movie, I'm sorry. Go ahead and close this up. Go Control, Test, and it will open up and you'll see the difference. Now you can see that it's filling up to the size of my actual web page window. Okay, where before it wasn't. Remember before, if I made it smaller, you could see the white area. So this one makes it go the entire background, and you can still see all my buttons are working. Okay, close that up. Okay, so now let's start making our pages. So let's start creating our main page area. So I'm going to come over here and get my rectangle. I'm going to choose maybe a grayish color. Let's even do this. Let's change our alpha. Let's make it like 39%. Hit enter, and then I'm going to draw a rectangle. And you're going to see why we made it 39%. You can kind of see there's a difference or a shading, and we can make that even a little. If I click on it here, I can click that alpha and I can make it maybe 42%. Hit enter, and when I click off of it, you see it's a little darker here. Might want to make it even more darker, so I'm going to click back on it, come over here and click on my fill, change that. Let's go up to 50 and let's see what happens. That's not too bad. You can still see it. Okay. So once I've done that, now I'm going to put some some content inside of this background screen. So I'm going to come over here and get my text tool. And it's very important I come up here and I move my alpha back to 100. So I'm going to type in 100. Otherwise my text will not be 100%. So I'm going to choose black. I'm going to come over here, say welcome to our website. Well, maybe I should do this. No, to our website. Okay, and get my selection tool. I'm just going to move this guy over a little here. Okay. And you can see, I want to make this a little darker, I think. I want to click on it again. Let's go up to 60. Yeah, that's a little better. You can see there's a little darker over the rocks in that. Okay. So now if we test this, I can go Control Enter and Control Enter, and this is what it would look like on your browser window. So you can see when we click on main page, this will appear. Okay, so a little trick, make sure our timeline is, oops, I screwed up right here. I gotta fix this. So I need to come here and click on buttons and go up to window, actions. I need to select all this. So I'm gonna click in there and hold down Control, hit A, and then right click, cut. All right, and I need to make sure that I'm on the ActionScript layer. My ActionScript here, right click, paste. Okay, so then when I'm done, let me close this up. You can see my ActionScript. I see the A. Here's my buttons. Okay, I'm going to come right here on content because I did that same thing, and I need to choose this right here. Okay, I need my text and my background image. I'm going to go edit, cut. Okay, and what I'm going to do is come to my content layer and go edit, and I want to choose paste and place. You see it pops up right there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save it, or better yet, let's test it. And I'll show you that this is what it should look like now. Okay, and you'll see that you'll see it flashes every once in a while. Okay, that's because in our timeline it only lasts this one frame. It shows, and then for the next 67, 68 frames it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep this same format. So an easy way of doing it is I'm going to use my keyframes. Okay, so I'm going to come to frame 10 on my content layer, choose it. I'm going to insert keyframe, and you can see it took this keyframe and copied it right here. So now I'm going to come in here with my text tool. Again, making sure I'm on frame 10. And I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to change it to about us. Then maybe move it over a little. Trying to keep it on the same level. Just move it over. Okay. Then I'm going to come to frame 20. Do the same thing. Select it on my content. Insert a keyframe. Okay. Get my text tool. I can go Control A and then type in photos. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing for content. So I'm going to go to frame 30, insert a keyframe, change my text to contact. Okay, click off of it. So now you see frame 1, it's welcome to our website. Frame 10, about us. Frame 20 is going to be photos, and frame 30 is going to be contact. Okay, get my selection tool. All right, now you'll see more if we test it. So let's go ahead and test. You're going to see it skipping what looks like it's skipping. Let me get it over here. See how we see it disappears. Okay. All right. Okay, instead of making it just flash them, let's go ahead and let's just insert a frame here after our contacts. Let's just right click on frame 70, insert a frame, and now when we test it, you'll see it goes and stops. Let me refresh here. You say it'll keep going, but it'll keep looping. So how do we stop this? Okay, and that's where ActionScript comes in. Okay, so we want to make it stop running through all of these to where it keeps doing this and then going and starting over again. We want to stop right here. Okay, so what we can do is in our previous activities we typed in the actual ActionScript. So I'm going to show you a feature that Adobe Animate has. It's called code snippets. So I am going to the ActionScript layer. I'm going to choose that layer or that frame. Okay, and if I went right now to Window Actions, this is where we pasted that responsive code. Okay, so I'm going to close that up right now. So with that selected there, I'm going to go to Window, Code Snippets. I'm going to choose that, and this pop-up will happen. Well, we want to open up the HTML5 canvas. We want to go to Timeline Navigation, and we want to borrow this code right here. Stop at this frame. Okay, so I'm going to right-click, right-click, choose Copy to Clipboard. I get a little message saying it has been copied, and I got to paste it somewhere, so I click OK. And again, making sure I have that ActionScript layer frame 1 selected. I want to make sure my actions are opened, and I might need to click behind and just hit enter a couple times. I want to be up after the on resize semicolon. I want to be behind it. I'm going to right click, paste, and you can see it says this stops. So if I test it, let me get my tab to open up over here. You'll notice that it's stopping at welcome to our website. So no matter what I do, how many times I refresh it, it goes right here and stops. So that's just another way of doing it. We typed this in last time. On this occasion we used a code snippet. So Adobe Animate gives us some tools to be successful. Close all this. Okay. Okay, so not only does it give us the stop, but we can add coding to make this button go somewhere. So like when this button is clicked, we could say go to and stop at this location or this frame. So I'm going to make sure main image is selected, my main image button. I'm going to again go to my window, code snippets, and right here I'm going to open up my HTML5 canvas, and I want to choose to click to go to frame and stop. So I'm going to click it and then right click, copy to clipboard. I'm going to get that message again, click OK. And again, in my timeline, I want to make sure, whoops, I wasn't there. So I need to come here, make sure my ActionScript layer is selected. I'm going to go up to Window, Actions, okay? And then after my stop, I'm going to hit enter a couple times, then right click, paste. So then this should look familiar to you. We made these functions before. This is the name of our button, and here's our event listener. On the click, what's it going to happen to do? It's going to call this function right here, go to and stop frame. This says go to and stop 5. So you'll see that the code is a little different. That's because we're using code snippets, but you can kind of see the similarities of what we typed before. Okay, so now if I clicked on home, it would take me to frame 5 and stop. Okay, oops, I just caught something. This shouldn't be frame 5. This should take us to frame 1. Okay, so now if I tested it, something didn't work. So I got to go back and troubleshoot. Okay, so I need to delete this here. So I'm going to select all of it. back out of it. So I think I was on the wrong frame when I was doing this before, so I'm going to close this up. So I want to make sure I'm on my ActionScript layer. Okay, I'm going to choose main page. Okay, so main page, I want to come here to window, snippet. I want to open up my HTML5, timeline navigation here. I want to go copy to clipboard and then choose my ActionScript layer, window, actions, and paste. And this should be taking me to frame 1. So let's change that to frame 1 and test it and see what happens. And again, it's not working. Okay, so delete this again. This is the fun of action scripting. Close this up, close that. Okay, and I just want to see what is on this action. I got all that, got all that. Stops at this frame. Okay, let's just test it and see. Yeah, so this is what happens. So I'm back to this part. Okay. All right. Okay, so I found something very interesting. We call this ActionScript. If we change this name right here to Actions with a capital A, watch what we can do. So again, I click on my main page. You see my button layer is selected. I go up to Window, Code Snippets, open up my HTML5 canvas, timeline navigation. So now I want click to go to frame end stop. So if I right click, instead of going to copy to clipboard, watch what happens. I say add to frame. I get this message. The selected symbol requires an instance name. And you remember we had to do this before. Okay, and Animate will create an instance name before applying the code sample. So if I click OK, it automatically places the code I need below my stop where I was before. So now let's test it. And you can see, if I can bring it over here, okay. If I click on that, well, it's hard to tell, but we're going to do the same thing for these guys here. So let's try that. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go make sure my timeline is featured again. Okay. I'm going to click on About Us. All right. And I'm going to follow the same procedures I did before. All right. So again, with About Us selected, I'm going to come here and get my click to go to frame and stop. Select it, right click, add to frame. I'll get that message again, so it'll give it its own instance name. I click OK. But now the thing I have to change is I want this one to go to frame 10. So right here, I want to change that 5 to 10 because that's where my About Us goes. All right. And if I test it, bring it over here, okay, you'll see if I click on About Us, that goes. If I click on main page, it goes back here. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do photos and contact. Close my action. Choose. Oh, let's make sure my timeline's available. Click on photo. Choose click to go to frame. Right click. Add to frame. It tells me about the instance name. Click OK. And for this one, I want it to go to frame 20. So I'm going to come in here and change that number to 20. Okay, close up my timeline. Click on contact. Choose click to go to, right click, add to frame. Let it make it my own instance name. And I want this one to go to frame 30. So I'm going to change that to 30. So now if I test it, you'll see that if I click on main page, About Us, Photos, Contact, About Us, Photos, doesn't matter what order I do. Okay. Close up our actions window. Okay, let's go ahead and go File, Save As. I want to name this Heath Dash Animated Website. Make sure you save that to your digital animation folder on your K drive. So that way we don't lose anything. Okay, go ahead and close this up. Now that we added code snippets to these buttons, we can also be creative and use code snippets to make our content look a little cooler. We'll learn how to do that now. Okay, so let's get on our timeline here, and let's go to our About Us. Okay, I want to select our About Us content. So you see how it's all selected, and from 10 to 19 is highlighted in my timeline. So just like buttons can do certain things, we've figured out that the other types of symbols are called movie clips. So let's modify this to a movie clip. Okay, and I'm just going to call this About MC. Click OK. And now you'll see that we have that blue border. So now we can do some things with code snippets for this. Alright, so now that we've converted this to a movie clip, we have to go inside and edit this movie clip. So again, we're in scene 1. So let's double click on this. And now you'll see that we are inside the About movie clip, that we have our own timeline that we can animate this part. Okay, so I'm going to let's add a keyframe. I don't know. Let's add it at 30. It's our keyframe. Okay. So you see we have this. Now let's come back here to frame 1 and let's just move this off our screen. Just going to take it all the way off, trying to use that same line so I'm off screen. And then I'm going to click anywhere in here and I'm going to insert a classic tween. Okay. Alright, so I had to convert that to a clip. So now if you see, what will happen is it will move in. Okay, that's kind of a cool feature. Alright, so click on scene and let's test it. Oops, there we go. So if I click on About Us, okay, that's pretty cool, but obviously we want it to stop, so we have to fix that. Okay, so let's go ahead, before we do that, let's adjust our ease. So let's double click on our movie clip and get back into the MC so we see our blue arrow. Okay, this area here, I'm going to come over and let's select it. Oops, why am I not selecting it? It's not going to let me do it. Oops, I don't want that. I'm just going to click right here on ease and let's crank it into 100. Make it a little smoother. Okay. Alright, so, oh, I need to be in here again. Sorry, so double click, make sure you're inside your About MC. So we know right now, we've already discovered how do we tell, using a code snippet, how we can tell Adobe Animate to stop at a certain frame, right? So I'm going to be here at the end. I'm going to go up to Window, Code Snippets. Come right here to HTML, Timeline Navigation. Okay. And I want to choose Stop at this frame. I want to right click, Add to Frame. And you see it pops in right there. So here's my action script from before on my main timeline, and here's the action script inside of my symbol. So close that up. Now if we close this up and test it, you're going to see some magic, hopefully. All right. Stop. Sweet. Okay, let's go ahead and file save. All right, let's do something for photos. Okay, so click on that. I'm going to close up my code snippet, and I want to be on my photos, right? So I want to highlight all of that, make sure that is. Now instead of going modify convert to symbol, I can also right click and go down to convert to symbol. Okay, I'm just going to call it photo MC. Oops, it'd help if I typed in the other O. There we go. Click OK. You see that? Double click on it. Okay, now I'm in there. So now I can... Okay, sorry for the bell. So let's do something different. I'm going to click here and create a classic tween. Then I'm going to come here. I think I went to 30 last time. Can't remember. I'll go 35, insert a keyframe. And we'll make this one come from this side of the screen. Okay. So it'll... Wait a minute, I did that wrong. Let's back up. I'm an idiot. I'm just hitting Control Z, edit undo. Okay. So I want to create a classic tween, but I want to start it over here. Oops, get back on that line. Okay. And then insert frame 35, insert a keyframe. And then on that keyframe, I want it to be back here. Right there. Okay. So it'll come from the right. Okay. And then again, I want to stop it. So I want to go to Window, Code Snippet, go to my HTML5, Timeline Navigation, choose to stop at this frame by right click, add to frame. It'll pop right there. Close it up and let's test it. Okay, so I have About Us, pop, and Photos. Sweet. Okay. Go ahead and minimize that. Close that up. Okay, so let's click back on the scenes. So now let's choose our contacts. Okay, so choose contacts here. Well, it would help if I clicked here. I want to select this whole thing. Okay, so you see it selected here. And go up to modify, convert to symbol, and call this contact MC. Click OK. Double click on it. Okay, and now we're going to use a code snippet or preset motion. So I'm going to go Window, come here to Motion Presets. Okay, Window, where's my motion presets? There we go. I want to go to Default, and one of the cool ones I found was Pulse. Okay, click Apply. Again, it says multiple objects are selected. You must convert them to a symbol in order to do that. So I click OK, and there's my symbol. Okay. And now, if I test it, sorry, I gotta open up this one and bring it over. So my photo still works. My About Us. Now watch what happens with contacts. Wah, 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 wah. That's pretty cool. Okay, again, I want it to stop as it'd be hard to read. So inside of that movie clip, make sure my timeline is selected. Just going to be at the back here. Okay. Going to Window, down to Code Snippets, my HTML5, Timeline. Choose to stop at this frame. Right click, add to frame. Close it all up and test it. And let me drag it over. Photos and contact. Photos. So I think it does it twice. There you go. Okay. So that's pretty cool. You can see how using simple classic tweens and code snippets can make you a website pretty interactive. Okay, now that I've shown you how to do a couple things with the about, the photo, and the contact, why don't you take the main page content right here, convert this to a movie clip, and then try using one of these in there. Pick one that you like. Okay. So again, how to do that is you select the content here. You want to convert it to a movie clip. So I'm going to type in welcome MC movie clip. Click OK. Double click inside of it. Okay. And I need to convert this to another movie clip because there's the rectangle and text. So I'm going to modify, convert to symbol, just make it a movie clip. Okay. And now that I have that, I can come to my presets and then I can pick any one that I want. Obviously, okay, that's kind of cool. I'll try that one. Okay, make sure I'm at the end here. Let's see, how can I fix that? That's not going to work. So I can add a keyframe, and then move it back up. Let's see what that looks like. This could be pretty cool. Oh, it is. Okay, so now I just have to go in and tell it to stop. So I go to my timeline, double click inside of it, make sure I'm at my end, go Window, Code Snippets, HTML5, Timeline, choose to stop at this frame, right click, Add to frame. And now it will stop if I test it. Okay. So by adding that last frame as it bounced off the screen, boom, like that. Okay. So you guys come up with, so the About Us will come from the left to the right. The photos will go right to left. Contact will pulse, and then you choose something from the main page. You can't use the bounce technique like I did. Something else. Okay? Once you're done with that, go ahead and submit it to Schoology. You did a great job.